Brother, thank you so much for being here today. I
Thank you.
really appreciate you being here. The whole point of these chats is just to have short, casual conversations with people, and the other person talks about maybe a couple topics that they are interested in, with the hopes that maybe someone will learn something new. Okay, we are now in beautiful Goa
Yeah.
along the beach. How are you liking it?
Yeah, it's good actually. Yesterday was not so much because we were just traveling, but now today it's chill.
Okay, and how do we know each other, by the way?
Okay, we know each other via Junaid.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had like two trips together and it was good.
Uh-huh. And I think you have a couple topics that you want to talk about that you think other people might find insightful, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
One of them is around tech,
Yeah.
AI,
Yes.
right? So tell me about what got you into AI. What are the latest developments, and what are you keeping your eyes peeled for?
Yeah, so regarding AI, actually I used to sketch a lot in my childhood, but due to school pressure, I had to quit that because I changed school and it was kind of getting difficult. So after that, I just wanted to resume somewhere in art. So when I saw that there is a potential in AI art, so I thought, why not use both my qualities. Like we have the AI art as well as like the manual art that I actually do. So if I fuse the technology with the artistic perspective, it will be good. So yeah, I tried out with the Stable Diffusion. So it is a very famous open source software for producing AI art locally. So you do all your setup locally. You don't have to just like go to a website and just generate something. So there will be a lot more challenges when you are doing the setup on your own. It will be a bit time consuming as well, but I think it gives you more flexibility.
And what does an end product kind of look like for this type of?
So the possibilities with AI art when you are using an open source software are endless. Like over there you don't even have limitations of maybe if you call it resolution, or maybe the type of art that you want to do. So yeah.
And you basically also used to live in Australia, and you live in India.
Yes.
Would you be able to give a quick comparison maybe on different aspects of life in Australia versus India for those who are maybe considering going from Australia to India or India to Australia? What's the work life balance like? What does life look like at both of these countries? Because you've lived in both.
Yes. Yeah. So earlier when I used to work in Mysore, I was working for the same client but on a different project. So actually within the same domain also, if you are working and if it is the same kind of client, there are different teams, and even within the same client we can have different team cultures within different teams. So when I was in Mysore, the work life was very hectic because our seniors were kind of workaholic, we can say. So they had put in culture over there and that was being followed blindly. And when I just shifted to onshore in Australia, over there the team was very new and good, and it was like we were building the culture over there together. So it was kind of good over there, like work life balance was good. And we got to interact with the stakeholders, like the business team as well as with the developers. So it was good. Like if we have a personal connection, then I think it is better to work together as well, rather than sitting on different locations and working. So yeah, it was good
And
over
what was
there.
the best part for you about living in Australia? Where in Australia were you living? How long were you living for? Yeah.
So I was living in Australia for around 5.5 years, and I have never been outside of the CBD. Like I have been to roam around, but I've always stayed within CBD,
Which is the Central Business
Central
District,
Business
which is
District.
basically like the main area where all the businesses are, where all the buildings are, where all the
Yeah,
shops are. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, I just choose convenience. So like I don't need to plan for groceries and anything over there. So I just can go down and just buy whatever whenever I want. So yeah, that is what I was looking for over there.
And what was like a really big culture shock for you when you came from India to Australia? What are some culture shocks?
Uh, Cultural shocks. Actually, not so much because I am kind of familiar with the culture. Like I was already kind of aware of the culture over there. Not much of a shock, but the things that I really liked over there was work-life balance, and you get a lot of appreciation when you are working out of your way to take things ahead. You get a lot of appreciation, but that is not so much over here in India. Though I am still working in the same team, it is still better. But earlier, when I was working in Mysore in a different project with for the same client, the work-life balance was not good, as well as the appreciation was not up to the mark.
So, but overall, you said, I remember we were talking a while back that your heart's in India, right? Your
Yes,
heart is here, and you always knew you wanted to be in India.
yes.
What was the reason for this?
So there are two things actually. One thing is like my parents don't want to shift in outside country, and I can even understand because they are right now they are so close to friends and family, and it will be difficult in that age to adapt over there. So that was one thing. Another thing was I think to start a family, I think India is a good place. Like we can instill like our culture and our discipline here in our family rather than in Australia, I think.
And I guess in terms of like, you're saying that you live in a place called Hyderabad, right?
Yes.
Um, can you talk a little bit about the city? I've personally never been there,
Yeah.
but for those that want to know about the city, can you talk about its culture, its vibrance? What's the um, main standing point about Hyderabad?
Okay, so Hyderabad is like second biggest IT hub after after Bangalore. And actually, I took the transfer from Mysore to Hyderabad because of obvious career opportunities are there in Hyderabad, and I didn't want to go to Bangalore because I feel like it is kind of overpopulated and it is having a lot of issues right now. But Hyderabad was very welcoming because my most of my offshore team was working here already, and another thing was like I'm open to learn new languages. Like I even know a little bit of Telugu, a lot of Kannada because I have been 3 years in Mysore. Uh, but communicating in Hyderabad is a lot easier. People are very welcoming, and they even if they know a little bit of broken Hindi, they will always try to help you.
And Hyderabad, which state is in it?
Hyderabad comes in Telangana,
And the language they speak is
Telugu.
okay. So this is part of South India, right?
Yes,
And what are some things that Hyderabad is really famous for?
actually, Hyderabad is very famous for Hyderabadi biryani, but I can't comment about it because I'm a vegetarian. So yeah.
And before this, where were you living? Before this city, Hyderabad,
Before Hyderabad, I was living in Melbourne.
in Melbourne. Okay. And which other cities in India have you lived in?
So I have lived in Kolkata.
Mm.
I have lived in Bhubaneswar. So Bhubaneswar was where my training was done for Infosys. Then I was posted in Mysore. So I've lived in Mysore for around 3 or 3.5 years. And I have also lived in Pune for a short while of 3 months.
And of all, so you lived in quite a few cities in India.
Yes,
Which city would you say has been the best for you in terms of just like living? Because maybe someone currently is in India and they want to find the best city for them.
yes.
What do you think is the best city to live in?
I still like Mysore the most because it is quite peaceful over there, and the Infosys campus is like out of the world experience. Like it's very big. They have so many food courts and so many activities to do over there. Like even multiplex itself is inside that. So like on the weekends we can just buy movie tickets and watch over there. So it has a total all round experience there. We have rock climbing and other activities as well within the campus itself.
So it's like working at Google or Netflix. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is very cool.
Um, you talked about Infosys.
Yeah.
This is a very big company.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about this company, the history, its roots? What is life like at this company for someone who, an outsider's perspective?
Yeah.
What are the origins of the company?
Yeah, maybe I can say I have been kind of lucky because I know many of my friends who did not have a very good time at Infosys. But for me, from starting itself, I have got many good friends as well as my teammates and managers have been very good to me. and I never faced any major issues with anyone.
And Infosys, what is this company about? Like the
So it is
roots of.
all about IT. So it is a service based company. So whichever whichever like any bank or any other clients who wants to do their software work, maybe testing or maybe getting something developed, they just reach out to Infosys.
And people that work at Infosys, what are the kind of like departments there? What does life look like for someone who's at Infosys?
Yeah, so over
Yeah.
there, like we have something called ECC, that is a kind of a hostel within Infosys. So while you are doing your training, maybe it may last from 3 months or 6 months, depending on which kind of stream you are in. So yeah, the ECC over there is very good. It's just like another hotel. So yeah, it is maintained very well. You can have a good life over there. Like while like when you are studying, you don't have to worry about anything else. Your accommodation is done for. You have good food over there, and in budget.
And anything else? Like I guess what's the founding story of Infosys? I believe it's from South India, right?
Yes,
And the founder is
Narayan
Gentleman
Murthy.
Murthy. And do you know how the company started? I believe he is from humble beginnings, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I think he took. I think he took some of the jewelry of his wife as loan, and then he started this company. So yeah, it started from very root level, and he has taken it to big level. Yeah.
And they're also sponsors of the Australian Open, I believe, right?
Yes. Yes.
Consistently. And I'm guessing some people that work in Infosys would get some perks there
Yes.
too.
Yeah. So I have few of my friends who visited Australia Open as well. So yeah, there are perks obviously of being with Infosys.
And would you say that this is a company where there's a lot of growth in terms of learning? People who work there can learn a tremendous amount.
Yes, we do have platforms to learn over there, and there are right now there are learning based incentives as well. And but I still think like it depends on your manager and on your project, like how much encouraging they are. If they are encouraging, you can learn a lot.
And for those that maybe don't know much about like the company, what would be the closest relation on a maybe an American scale? Infosys would be the equivalent of which American company? A big American.
Maybe we can say I'm not sure if Accenture is American, right?
Accenture. I'm not too sure, man.
Even I'm not sure. So yeah, it is like equivalent to that.
Okay. So that's pretty interesting. And I just want to go back to the first topic you were kind of talking about. You were talking a little bit about AI.
Yes.
This is a growing sector, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask you about your thoughts on the newest ChatGPT. I think the news update voice based.
I'm not sure. I don't follow up a lot on Chat GPT. Like uh, I'm pro open source, so I actually don't like services which limit us. So I have worked on something similar. Like instead of Chat GPT, there is like something called Traven AI. So over there, you have your own large learning model, open source. You can use multiple models. You can fuse them, and then you can configure it for yourself and use it.
And do you know, like in terms of the potential you see for AI
Yes.
in our day to day activity, um, do you think the scope is probably pretty wide, right?
Yeah, scope is pretty wide, and I think we should adopt AI, and I think it is actually useful and helpful for us. I don't think we need to be afraid of it as of now. I think it will be yet another tool for us to use and like save time.
Because you were talking about it's something that I guess it's evolving, right? It's going with the times. I think AI, whether we like it or not, it's here to stay, and I
Yes.
think it's here to evolve. You were talking about how it's not a threat right now, but there are people who are very concerned about
Yes.
the future of AI and maybe how it can be an entity in itself that kind of takes over humanity and stuff like this.
Yes.
At what point do you think we should be a little bit concerned about AI?
uh, I think right now AI is not on that level that it can cause us any harm, but maybe going further it may develop to something like that. So most probably we should have something like a kill switch. uh, Maybe I cannot comment on that, but I think most of the governments are already working on it, maybe secretly. So yeah, there is a need for a kill switch for sure. But right now, I don't see it as a threat. At least for not for 5 or 10 years for now.
Okay. So that's pretty interesting because I think AI is something that everyone is adopting now.
Yes.
It's now ingrained into our phones, it's ingrained into softwares and everything, and I think
Yes.
people are a bit concerned. They're getting increasingly concerned because
Yes.
AI is now so smart.
Yes. Also, right now, AI is being used in a lot of scams. Like there can be voice cloning, video cloning, and all sort of illegal things. And I think right now people need to understand and adopt that not everything you see might be real, even the information or even some things about some people. So now people need to keep an open mind and always always be cautious before believing anything about anyone or maybe about any politician or any country, because right now with AI faking information is very easy.
I think also we were talking. I mean, we see on WhatsApp, especially stuff gets circulated. Deep fakes is a big
Yes.
one, right?
Yes.
So that's where we already see an increasing threat.
Yes.
Scams you were talking about.
Yes.
Scams are getting smarter. AI is knowing how to like bypass these scams.
Yes.
These are all things we need to watch out for, right?
Yes.
And
And the
I
same
think
AI can be used to actually fight it, because there are many AIs which work on detecting deepfakes. Yes. So maybe we can use it for both good and bad. So it was always the same, like the Photoshop. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. So it's kind of same thing, but on a different level.
so. It can be a force for good and bad,
Yes.
good and evil, but we need to decide where we want to put more energy. Right?
Yes.
And I think AI is also slowly taking over jobs. Example: graphic design. Now I think you can just give a prompt. AI will just create a design for you.
Yes, but I still think AI is not that smart to create the kind of output you want. So you even need to be trained in prompting as well to actually get the kind of result you want.
Okay.
So prompt engineering is another kind of a job right now. So maybe if one door closes, another opens. If and if you upgrade yourself, then maybe.
I see. I see. So that's pretty interesting, bro. We've talked a lot. We've about interesting stuff. We talked about AI, Infosys as a company, what it's like.
Yeah.
We've talked about the benefits of AI, the threats, the potential threats, and we've talked about major Indian cities. Yeah. So I think we're running to a close towards this chat, but normally at the end of this chat, I ask one question, very simple question that
Okay.
for anyone who's watching, do you have a piece of advice that you think might be useful for them to carry on into their lives?
Uh, I'm not that kind of a like one advice for all kind of a guy. I think people should adopt to the changes around themselves, and they should adopt in such a way that is good for them. Maybe some advice might work for someone, it might not work for others. So yeah, just just analyze yourself, just see what's better for you, and just carry on.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Catch